For that, we head to James Womack, the founder and chairman of the Lean Enterprise Institute of Management Education Center. He's also co-authored widely known books like The Machine That Changed the World and Lean Thinking. Jim joins us now from our Boston newsroom with his perspective on Toyota's problems. Welcome to you, Jim.
Thank you.
All right, so Toyota's already lost about $33 billion in market value because of this recall nightmare so far. Your specialty, again, this idea of lean manufacturing. That said, what's your advice for Toyota right now in the current circumstances to control costs?
Well, the two issues here. Number one, they need to walk their talk with how they run the business. And number two, they need to find a little bit better way to engage with the public. You've had the feeling in the last week or 10 days that the folks who were advising Rick Wagner to fly his Gulfstream to Washington to beg got a new job working for Toyota, where they were basically doing the crouch or the fetal position or whatever. So that there's a need just to deal with the crisis. And this is a standard problem for any business, how you deal with a product problem in a consumer goods company. The bigger thing is whether they can get the methods that they pioneered that do work back in place as standard everyday practice at Toyota.
Jim, let me ask about the actual issues with the manufacturing. I mean, we heard from Ralph Nader last week that this has been an issue since way back in the 80s. Now Congress is looking at possibly decade-old problems that Toyota knew about. What's the problem? Why can't they build these cars correctly so that they don't accelerate when you're not using the gas pedal?
Well, I think there are a couple of things here. Number one, it's a new era in terms of putting electronics in cars. And if you go to the NHTSA investigation, that's the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration investigation data, which you can get on the web, you discover that all manufacturers have been struggling with kind of ghost in the machine issues as cars become ever more electronic. And we're kind of used to the idea that our cell phone drops calls or that our PC freezes. That's not acceptable in cars. And so therefore, there's a much higher technical hurdle to get over to have a car that never, ever fails for any reason. And so many of these problems are difficult to find. They're intermittent, don't happen all the time, only happen in unusual circumstances. And so every car company, if you look at the full backlog of investigations out there, every car company is struggling with these issues. Toyota has not, until recently, been different from others. In recent times, it all seems to just be rolling down together in one big sort of perfect storm of defect surfacing. So it's an industry-wide problem. Toyota's had some special issues here recently. You know that you're pretty far into one of these recall dramas when we're getting into the who knew what when part. That kind of comes later. It always starts with the revelation there's something wrong, then with the panic, the rush to the dealer, then with the will the president please come to Washington and be contrite, and then we go to the next phase, which is who knew what when, who can we blame?
In terms of getting these
sort of the way
cars
the game's played.
repaired, excuse me for interrupting you, Mr. Womack, but does Toyota have to reshuffle its priorities now, put off manufacture of new models, for example, for a short time to deal with these recall repairs?
No, the new product program goes ahead. That's not really affected here, with one exception, that now they really do have to be absolutely sure that everything new they do is dead right. And that could slow things down. But I think the bigger issue is, are they really following the processes that they defined, they perfected, they pioneered for the world? Are they really following them all the time the right way? And maybe that requires some slowing down. It certainly requires a focus of attention, because they can't, or certainly don't want to have any more slips from this point going forward.
Are there aspects of Toyota's culture that might prolong this crisis? What aspects perhaps might bring it to an earlier close?
They're very, very good at doing root cause analysis. And that, however, from the public standpoint, makes them appear to be very slow. That they say, don't jump to solutions. You've got to be sure you absolutely understand the problem before you start claiming you've got the fix. And they've been working night and day trying to understand their problems. And you might say, hey, a little late to be getting on this. But now that they are, there's a rigor they have in their problem-solving process that will serve them well. But it doesn't look very good if you're just a user of their product and wondering why they didn't figure this out last week or last month or 10 years ago, if you believe the worst of the stories.
You say Audi responded the worst to one of these crises and that Johnson & Johnson did the best. What about when you look at Akio Toyoda here? I mean, is he going to have to change the way he deals in the future? I mean, obviously, the public here in the U.S. wasn't terribly pleased with how he dealt with this crisis.
Yeah, his strength is his weakness. He's a great insider. He absolutely understands how you do product development, how you do production. Is absolutely not your Lee Iacocca. This is not a guy who feels comfortable in public eye. And the natural instinct of the Toyota family, of which he is the current generation, is basically to duck. They hate PR. They're very private. And this is a time when, as I say, you really need to engage your consumer base and be reassuring. It's the kind of thing that someone like Jim Press, who left to go to Chrysler, could do, but it's hard for Akio Toyoda to do. This is an acquired skill, which he would do well to acquire pretty quickly.